Hey everyone, welcome to Slamfire Radio episode 372 for September 17th, 2020. I am one of your hosts, Kelly Lynn.
And I'm another one, Adriel Michaud.
We're the reliable ones.
The reliable. Steady, reliable, boring?
Actually, yes, I was
Steady.
going to say
Steady.
we're reliable because we're boring and we have no lives. But
I've got a pretty busy calendar.
actually,
I know
that's
your
not
calendar's
true.
pretty busy too. Weren't you just at some protest that I
Uh,
couldn't be bothered to be at?
no, it wasn't a protest. It was a march.
Peaceful
Yes,
march.
it was a peaceful march. It was,
Peaceful march.
yes.
You know, one of the things I was thinking about, like you guys
Uh,
did that peaceful march. You guys couldn't do anything extreme because
I know.
the risk for anyone who does anything extreme as a gun owner is you lose all your
Huge.
guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
lose all your guns. So
So,
you are handcuffed from doing anything extreme.
yeah, but that was the
Mm.
boring part. I
Mm.
was I was thinking about it because if we didn't do anything extreme, we were peaceful and organized, which we were, by the way. We're
Hmm.
going to talk about it a little bit. Then the news didn't have anything to report.
Hmm.
And if we weren't peaceful and we were like, as you were saying, tossing cars and crap like that, then the
Can you pay other people to do that for you? Can you just pay other
one
people to toss cars and go to jail for you and that kind of thing?
sure enough, that's what other people do.
Protest mercenaries.
They get paid to protest. I actually know
Mm.
people that do that. Anyways,
Hmm.
not it's like paid lobbyist. Anyways, but
But more fun.
no, the
No.
radicals. Yeah, no.
Mm. Mm.
Actually, don't know them anymore.
Mm.
Or maybe they grew up. Maybe they got a life. Okay. We're going to talk about the not the protest, the march.
The peaceful march.
The peaceful march that we did in a little bit because I was actually there. Yeah. What do we do? Talk about what we did in guns. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center. It's Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now they have a Chiappa 1982 Mare's Leg takedown rifle. It's chambered in 357 Magnum. It's got a 12-inch barrel, blue to octagon barrel actually, and it's walnut pistol grip, and it is so freaking beautiful.
The
Now the price,
like picture of it looks like it's cut off and like you should be able to
yeah,
hover your mouse over and it should move to the sides, but it doesn't. It's just like
no,
no, that is the rifle.
it's a shorty, but it's so
Yeah,
pretty. This is
it is.
this is like Chuck. What's Chuck's name on the rifleman? I can't remember
Uh,
what his actual
mm,
name was. Anyways, it looks like a rifleman's gun. You know, rifleman is it was black and white. It was actually
I don't know, like Bonanza. This
I'm
is like
even
that's
no,
where my knowledge
I'm
ends.
even too young for like rifleman, but I was watching it
Mm,
reruns. It's pretty good actually.
hmm,
But this would be a cool rifle to have. You know, lever action. Bang. Just,
neat.
I'd love
A
one.
deer rifle, I believe, is what you would call that. A deer
Yeah, it's
rifle.
not a it's a fun
I would
shoot
like to
from the
buy
hip
one just to
gun.
go hunting deer with it, just to make people
Really?
mad. Yeah,
No, I
because
wouldn't
like that's
actually.
practically like as
I'm gonna
close
have
as
to
you could get
Google this.
to
Okay,
handgun
whoever's
carry.
watching, can you guys Google and tell me who Chuck's last name is on the rifleman, and just put it in the notes. Um, yeah, you don't shoot deer with that. This is
Why not?
like
It's
shooting from the
357
hip
Magnum.
and just no. This is like
Could use it. It's
Coolio.
legal. So what if we went bow hunting and you just wanted something by your side, just in case there's like bears or something? Where I go
Okay,
bow hunting, there's lots of bears.
can I shoot it
I
from
could
my hip?
take one of those.
Can I
It's
shoot
pretty
from my?
nice. You can shoot from the hip. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Connors. Thank you, Chuck Connors. That's right.
This is
Anyways,
like some old timey like show.
yeah, it's on Prime. It's available on Prime.
Was this back in the days of like
This is before I was even born,
before
so that was
VHS?
a long time.
Mm,
Really?
before microwaves?
Yeah, it was before microwaves.
I don't know what you're talking about then.
All right. Why don't you tell us what you did in guns this week? You had some great stuff going on.
Yeah, I went to a 3-gun match. Did that. That
Yeah.
was fun. Yeah. Yeah. So we did the Battle of Alberta 2-day match in Alberta. This is rescheduled. Which one unfortunate thing, we rescheduled first, but IPSC Alberta rescheduled second, and they put their provincials on the same day as our match. So I'd be willing to bet there's a bunch of shooters who would have come out to the Battle of Alberta who instead went to
Went
the
to the
IPSC
provincials.
provincials. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just hold on a second. I think my dogs are about to fight. All right. Okay, so if you said that half or a bunch went out to the IPSC
Not
Proj.
half. Like just there's a couple people who shoot both and shoot
Mm,
a lot, and
mm,
those people would have went for the IPSC one rather than 3-gun.
okay. So was the Battle of Alberta, was it full by the end of it? I know you had a couple of spots going into that.
It was full to start with. There's a bunch of people who dropped out last minute. Just I don't really know why, because like it's not a cheap match. It was $150 for 2 days, and it came with like free meals and stuff. Oh man, the meals are so good. Like
Yeah.
every year they like add to it. This year it was like, what did we have the first day? I can't even remember. It was something. Oh, like sandwiches and pulled pork sandwiches and these like little to-go boxes that you could just like you could walk by this kind of central gathering area, grab one of those and a pop and some chips, and then keep going to your next stage. This is really
Oh,
good,
that's good.
really good. And then day two, there was eggs and bacon and pancakes for breakfast
Mm,
before you started, and then a lunch on that day too. So all that stuff was fantastic. This year, last year we had camping on the range too. We got like a special permit from the county to do it,
all
and
right.
this
Yeah.
year we did as well. It was nice. It was nice camping on the range for a major match because less going around, less driving. Because for me, set up Friday, match Saturday, match Sunday. That's 6 hours of driving I would have to do over that period of time,
Yeah.
or 1 hour there, camp, 1 hour back. Way better. Yeah, instead of
Did you camp
driving
in
all that.
the van?
I did camp in the van, and I gotta say, I love every time I do it because it's so quiet in there. Like you get the
Yeah.
best sleep. You wake up with your alarm. It's never because like someone else is like snoring or anything like that. You can't hear anything in there. It's so good, so good. I've actually left the middle seats out, so like all I have is front seats, and then like nothing in the back. So that the next maple seat I do, which is not this weekend but the weekend after,
Yep.
and the weekend after that.
Yep.
So I'll have the van for both of those, so I can just camp out in the van because yeah, it's really nice. Let's see,
Cool.
what else have I got to say about the match? A lot of failures. A lot more than you usually see, but like usually like people have ARs, so there are no like really rifle failures. Everyone's shotgun is pretty much squared away.
Yep.
Everyone's pistol is pretty much squared away. There were two shadows that went kaboom,
Mm-hmm.
related to reloading issues. So make sure that watch your powder with reloading pistol ammo, because if you get none or too much, both were bad. And then there was
Yeah.
a bunch of WK 180s failed. One of them, let me think. One of them, the piston broke. It's like the piston that knocks the bolt back there. That thing broke. On another one, the bolt broke. Maybe one or two bolts broke. I can't remember. But one notable one that was like the guy took like an M6 bolt or something like that and like threaded it into it just to finish the match off. And then what was a third one?
Sean's saying there was a Mosin Nagant that,
There was a Mosin. Yep, that
yeah,
ran.
he said that.
He did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where is
with the
it?
Mosin. I think he won Clipazine. Tyson. Yeah.
There's one guy who ripped it up with the Mosin Nagant. I
Yep.
saw. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Tyson, and yeah, he was ripping the Mosin. He had an advantage on some of the plate racks because he was hitting them so hard that all the other plates would fall because he was just like
Boom!
200
Yeah.
grains of hate just going down range.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And they were calibrated just to go, right?
wow, we hit anything with a 7.62 by 54 at like under 100 yards. Who knows what's going to happen? In that case, one hit will take
It'll all
all the
fall.
plates down. Yeah,
Aw.
it probably racked the whole thing back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I can't. Oh, it was there and now it's gone. Oh, the extractor pin. The extractor pin on the bolt. So the bolt body,
Mm-hmm.
bolt goes forward,
Mm-hmm.
and the extractor pin can poke out and the bolt's forward. And if it does that, the bolt will never like rotate back into the bolt body. So the fix for that is get a stronger extractor spring or pin your extractor pin in. Anyways, I ran the WSMCR. It was fine. I did see about almost all the way through day two I took a look on the bottom of it. I was like, oh, my gas block screws are walking, visibly walking. One of them's almost all the way out, and the other one's like 2 threads out.
Oh,
Yeah, so I took those off. I went and got some high temp Permatex, like Loctite from Canadian Tire, and I
yeah.
put those back in with the high temp stuff because that gas block does get quite hot, and that should hold them in there. I think it will. I think it will.
Cool.
Otherwise, my rifle, shotgun, pistol, they're like the reliability is all good.
Everything
Good with all of them.
was good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let me ask,
hmm
how'd you do?
I did all right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I did okay.
yeah.
I got this guy
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
I don't really deserve. I feel like I
So
don't
for
really
those who
deserve
are,
it because
yeah, you do.
the
For those
guy
that are listening, what are you holding up?
I'm holding a first place trophy, a
Yeah,
very nice place trophy. It's like steel, laser etched, and that kind of thing. Really cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah, the guy who got second beat me by like 0.2 or 0.4% or something like that. Just like super duper close. Beat me on most of the stages, but just yard sailed a couple of them, and I mean I yard sailed a couple as well, but less so. So that was important. There was a couple stages where I was dissatisfied with my performance. There was one where like I had a prop failure.
Okay.
There was this like steel head target, and I went and rewatched my video because I did like head cam and third person cam for all my stages. I
Hmm.
hit it 16 times, and it should take 3 to fully come down.
Yeah.
And I hit
What happened?
16, and it just I don't know, prop just didn't want to work. So I asked for a reshoot on that one, and then they gave me the reshoot on that one, which was nice because I don't mind if I do something that causes my performance to suck. Like there was another stage where I didn't spin a spinner properly, and like that was all on me. I could have
Yeah.
I could have done many things to solve that issue. But I don't like when either like my guns fail me or like the props fail me or some other weird things happen. I would rather have like my skill compared like as directly as possible to everyone else's.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
as
Well, you
lofty
should get
as of a goal that is.
yeah, you should get a reshoot of it's the equipment failure.
Yeah.
Not your equipment, but the
But the
prop.
stages, yeah,
Yeah,
stage props
stage.
and that kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of guys who were running pea shooter. So we had 2 new divisions, and they were like really popular this year. We have Clipazine, which was the Mosin Nagant guy, or SKSs and that kind of thing. Lots of people shooting that. We had pea shooter, which is
Okay.
basically like an adult version of our junior division. So 22 rifle, and then like I don't know, whatever for your pistol, whatever for your rifle, kind of a thing, but a 22 rifle. And both of those were really popular this year. In fact, we had very few people in some of our traditional divisions, and a lot of people just opting for those other ones. So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
some people are very limited in what they're able to shoot, right?
yeah. And I think
So
I don't know. I mean, it when you open the door, some people are like, "Oh, I can shoot that with a 22. Yeah, I want to try my 22. I want to shoot
that's
action
true.
rifle with my 22. That'd be fun." So I think some people took that approach. Some people were like, "Oh, well, I've always wanted to try my SKS or my Mosin or whatever in a match." So this was their opportunity
Okay.
to try it out. And I think that and they competed with people with like equipment. So
Okay.
that's
So
the
the
difference,
people
right?
with the SKS, how'd they do?
Well, the Mosin guy won, but I think that's because he is an experienced 3-gunner. He
Yeah.
shot a lot of it, and probably his pistol and shotgun work made up for his slow bolt action work because you can't
Right.
shoot those things very quickly.
Yeah.
You're always like
Well,
it's difficult to run the bolt when it's on your shoulder because of the leverage you get and because of you need to like whack them open. So
yeah.
you usually do have to bring them down to get enough leverage on the bolt. So they're not fast bolts. They're slow to use. But yeah, he did fine. I mean, the SKS guys did all right too. Again for their division. Um, yeah, the 180s were interesting. Just seeing like lots of failures, but that still is the best style of rifle to
Option.
use. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for the fastest.
Okay.
I say that the guy who won top overall was running a 22 rifle.
Oh, so he used in the P gun
Yep,
division.
pea shooter.
Pea
Yeah,
shooter.
yep. But like
Hmm.
overall,
Yeah.
that person. I mean, you could see why. I mean, like a 22 rifle has no recoil.
Yeah.
And I believe like you could run whatever you want to for a shotgun or pistol. So you could have been running like a full race pistol or a full race shotgun or something like that.
Yeah.
But
What distance were you shooting out to then?
so for PCC and P shooter,
Hmm.
not that far. For
Okay.
everyone else, we went out to 350.
Okay. Yeah,
350 when
I
like
was wondering if there was a
350 at
difference.
the end of a stage is like a lot to ask
Yeah.
of a person and a rifle, but
Yeah.
it's totally doable. Totally doable. I think I got that 351 in like 3 shots. It was
That's good.
I had problems on the 200 because I was holding high on it, thinking like, oh, I've got like a like a 4-inch, 5-inch drop at 200, but I forgot I'm zeroed at 50. So
Oh,
that should be like a dead on hold at 200,
yeah.
not a holdover. And
Yeah.
I thought I like sent 4 rounds. I'm like, I'll just go shoot this plate rack for a minute. And I came back. I'm like, oh yeah, side for 50. Okay, and then got all my hits there.
Your mind plays tricks on you, doesn't it? When you get into
Like I had a bad one. I went into one shooting position. I'm shooting handgun targets. Boop, boop, boop. I look at one and I'm like, oh, there's a hole in that one. I must have shot it. I must have shot it from back there or something like that. It wasn't a hole. It was a little bit of like white masking tape that looked very convincingly like a hole. And then when I
yeah.
went afterwards, they're like, Angel, you didn't even engage this one. I'm like, what are you talking about? That had a hole in it. And I look up. Nope.
Oh,
That's a
piece of
little
masking tape.
semicircle piece of masking tape. Oh,
Somebody did it
oh.
on purpose.
Yeah, it's my own fault.
Chris,
I mean, I again, in the heat of the moment, I should have shot it, but I thought I saw a hole in it. I thought I must have like shot at it or something like
yeah,
that, so I skipped it. It would have taken me no time to just plug it right there, but yeah,
just to make sure.
yeah,
Chris, he said that PCC and P shitter, you guys went out to 175,
175 there, and
which
Chris
is
was
still
there.
good.
Yeah,
Which is still
yeah.
good for. That's not a bad distance.
For a 22 to
22, yeah,
Aspio, yeah, you shoot your 22 at 175 on the clock. That's kind of tough. It's
yeah.
not the same thing as CRPS or something like that, where you've been like
Mm.
running around and doing all this other crap before getting to it. Oh, that's
You
the other
really,
thing. There was a bunch of
really
people
need
shooting
your
PCC.
holdovers.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's a bunch of people shooting PCC. So a bunch of people shooting like I don't know, like Ruger PC carbines and that kind of thing, and doing pretty well with them. So
Good.
yeah, it's kind of neat. Like one of the things that's happened because of this prohibition is that a lot of I guess we have a lot more variety of different firearms, which is I always like err on the side of inclusiveness to try to get more people in. I would prefer if we had like fewer divisions, so like it was easier to everyone to compete. But at the same time, I'm happy that lots of people can get out and try it and try 3-gun out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and it's forcing people to think outside the box and use different things and maybe use what's or been sitting in their safe for a while.
mhm, mhm.
Right? How many people do you think would go out and shoot with PCC
Yeah, yeah. So
when they have
I
their
got
yeah?
a video on that match on YouTube.
Cool.
It was good. It was an excellent match. I was ordering some stuff from Amazon and I checked out without like thinking and I accidentally bought this because
Okay,
I had
seriously,
added
how
it.
do you accidentally check
What was
out?
I buying? I was buying something small. I can't even remember it. But I had like added this to my cart a while ago, thinking like, oh yeah, a 4 pistol case. I've got another case that holds like 2, but they're really tight. And if you jostle it, they'll hit each other. So I had added this to my cart because I think it was like $30 or something like that.
Oh crap, that's cheap.
It's a cheap feeling case. Like
Okay.
the handle is one of
Chinesium.
these ones that where you can pinch your hand if you've got too much stuff in there. But in terms of like inside it, it's got you could pick this foam to just put 2 handguns in, or you could use this as your middle foam, and then put 2 on the bottom. Put that chunk of foam there. Put 2 on the top, and you got 4 handguns in one case. So
Nice.
I think that's what I'll use it for. That's what my idea was originally. Before I was like, nah, actually I won't buy it, and then accidentally bought it. So. I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, I believe my 1911 slide is milled and it's on the way to my place. So Captain
Oh, he
Andy is
camped in. He
finished.
did it, did he?
It looks really good. It looks really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, he was
He
sending me
sent
pictures
pictures.
as he was going, and He took the base. So I sent him the red dot with like this Picatinny base, and he milled that base flat, and he milled a slot in the 1911 slide and put it on. And he said that he needed like one click up and like two clicks right to zero. So very, very
Wow.
straight on. Yeah, fantastic. That was one thing I was a little bit worried about because this red dot doesn't have a ton of adjustability in it, but apparently it was like bang on the money. So
Cool.
yeah, yeah, fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a fun little pistol to try out. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll shoot it in the any kind of competition or something like that, but I wanted a red dot pistol, and now I have a red dot pistol. And I think that's it. I imagine I have a maple seed this weekend. I know I'm packed for one. I don't remember which one. I think it's Chaz. I think it's a Chaz maple
They're all
seed.
blending together. Yeah. I get one too.
Yeah, I got a maple seed a weekend until mid-October or something like that, and then I'm free, and then it's hunting season, and then cold. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
It's Alberta,
Mhm. Mhm.
Edmonton. It's going to be cold. It's already starting to get cold. I don't like
I'll
this.
probably shoot some more three gun matches in November and December.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
Yeah. You know, at some point you ask like, why do we even stop? If January, February are the only 2 months that we stop, why even bother? Just put them on. Oh, it's -20. Oh well, dress for it.
Been there, done that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Got the frostbite. It was fun.
Yeah. Mickey's asking anyone have a 1301 thinking about getting one? They're fantastic. They're a really good shotgun for three gun. They're very lightweight. The gas action on them is very, very quick.
Excuse me.
You can't outrun it. Like with some inertial fired shotguns, they have a slow action, whereas a gas one, like on the Beretta, I think they call it like their blink gas system. It's very quick. I
Yep.
can't outrun it. I cannot outrun that gas system. I can outrun an inertial and get a dead trigger because I pulled it as the bolt was going forward. Yeah, very good shotguns and lightweight
Yeah.
too. There's a 21 and a 24-inch barrel. I prefer the 24 just for like a little bit more swing. Like a 28 has like quite a bit of a longer barrel, and that you get that nice smooth swing with it. So it's really good for like clays and that kind of thing. 24 is like really good. Like I think the sweet spot for action. The 21 feels just a little bit too compact,
Right.
too whippy. It's a little bit too whippy. But people shoot both the 24 and the 21 and 28s at three gun, and it doesn't seem to me make like a ton of difference. Sean was asking if the steel core would wreck plates. Funny enough, so I tested steel core and regular stuff on AR 500 plates, my own AR 500 plates, and I found that 223 inside 100 meters, it'll pockmark them with
I
lead jacket or with steel core. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think he was talking about the guy that was using the Mosin.
The Mosin. It's
Yeah.
speed that kills steel plates, though. Like
Yeah.
speed. So if you shoot something close up with 5.56, you're going to leave pock marks, no matter whether it's plain lead core or not. 7.62 by 54, it's quite a bit slower. I was shooting stuff with SKS, like steel core SKS and lead core within
Oh,
100 meters, like 75, 60,
yeah.
and I could find no difference between steel core and regular. Maybe like a penetrator would make a difference, but a lot of the steel core ammo uses a mild steel core. So the steel is not like a hardened steel or
Hardened.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's just cheap. It's just because those commie countries wanted to make like the cheapest possible ammo, and steel is a little bit cheaper than lead. So you can put a steel core in there, and it just make it a little bit cheaper.
So Chris is saying that if you want to run those matches, he'll support you. I'm thinking he's talking about the ones in January. Good luck with that,
Oh,
Chris.
if I got nothing else better to do, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe we can maybe try one. And Emily's also talking about a lot of people are now trying, a lot more people are trying trap and skeet. We're actually seeing a lot more women trying trap and skeet as well. All the ladies that I was hanging out with this past weekend,
Hmm.
yeah, all of a sudden we've all taken up both trap and skate. I think it's because of actually Emily. She's being a role model for us, and we're wanting to shoot with her. So, and we all don't want to suck when we do shoot with her. So, not my first time when we shoot with her. So I think that's what it's coming down to. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that is Yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Kelly?
So I spent a full entire weekend. I took Friday off of work and went up to Ottawa early. Kelly and I both went up. We went up together. Now have a new name. So we're no longer Kelly's Squared. We picked up two nicknames over the weekend. We are the Kellys, because kind of like we are the Borg, you know. Anyways, but we also picked up Kelloids as well. So we will answer to all three of those names, the Kellys, Kelloids, or Kelloid Square. We went up a little early because we had to do a few things for running around to prepare for the Integrity March. So Kelly was actually the point person for the march. I was her 2IC. And so that way,
What's a
Tracy,
2IC?
second in command. Um, Again, we share a brain. We don't even have to talk to each other. We just have to look at each other and
You're
we
the assistant to the assistant manager.
shut up. So anyways, yes. So Tracy and Rod were doing interviews. So we were doing a lot of the back work. We had a meeting with our safety and our security team. So we went out on Friday afternoon and walked the route, and we actually timed it, and we also looked at some of the security issues and things like that, which was quite interesting. We were aware of them beforehand and planning purposes. I just wanted to give a shout out to somebody. His name is Wade. Wade actually came up to us. So it was really cool. We were doing the we were doing the march, or the route of the march was going to take, and people were, you know, in their cars down the street, and they were honking beep beep beep, and they're going CCFR, screaming. And there were people coming up to us at Parliament as well, Parliament Hill on the Friday afternoon. Tracy was with us, and people were coming up to say thank you, different things like that. Anyways, one of the persons that came up, he just wanted to come up and say hi. His name was Wade, and Wade, awesome guy. Anyways, he's from Regina, and he flew in, and he just came for the march, and he was by himself, didn't know anybody, never been outside of Regina, Saskatchewan, flew on points, and he just came for the march, and so it was really really cool. We met him. We asked him who he's with, and he said nobody. Where are you staying? He was staying in the same hotel, and we said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I have no idea." And we're going, "Well, you're staying with us for the weekend." So he did everything that we did. He helped. He came by. He helped us do signs that evening. It was so awesome. Anyways, um, so Friday night, as I said, we did the route. We did our planning. We got ready for the march itself. We taped up a ton of signs to sticks. We basically took over. There's a place on Spark Street. It's called Three Brewers or Trois Brasseurs. We basically took over that restaurant the whole entire weekend. I think that they loved us, and both inside and out, by the way, as well. We filled the restaurant. Um, and yeah, so we prepared on Friday night. The hotel that we were at was fantastic. It was a weird experience though, because I'm used to a hotel having a lot of things. Like I'm used to them having like a restaurant. This one didn't. Um, it was very weird. Anyways, super accommodating, close to the march as well. The next day we got up, we got ready for the march itself. Again, we had a little bit of meeting with the volunteers, got them ready and got them all with their jobs lined up, and it was like a well-oiled machine. So we got there. Tracy and Rod went a little ahead of us, and as we were Kelly and we led the team up. We had some intercom because what was happening is Rod and Tracy were at the front. Kelly was going to be in the middle, and I was going to be at the back. And then we also had our security as well as our first aiders as well. And then also the rest of the team was actually going to encircle the group of marchers. Now, we didn't know how many people were going to show up. We didn't know if there was going to be 5 or if there was going to be 25 or if there was going to be 5,000. So we're coming up over the hill, and from the Delta where we were staying, and it's a little bit when you're going up Wellington, it's a little bit of a incline, and all I hear is calling on the intercoms. He's going, "Get your asses up here now." And it's basically Tracy just said, "Call the Kellys, get them here." So we got up
I
there, and
need
as
some
we're
Kellys over here, stat.
no, that's actually what was happening. We tried to actually keep silent on the intercom so that if there was any issues, that people would be able to hear each other. And then all we heard was, "We need you up here now." And it was, so we get up there, and as we're coming up over Wellington, and it's just a little rise, and then all we start seeing are these people everywhere. And it's just like, and we're going, Kelly and I look at each other, and we're going, "This made it all worth it. This is awesome." And so it was kind of like we get up to the top of Wellington, and it's like volunteers deploy. So it was just like everybody knew their jobs. People were waiting at the buses with hand sanitizers. Everybody's getting off the bus. They were going, shh, shh, "Give me your hands," shh, shh. And they were giving out. We gave out bracelets. Um, we gave out flags, masks. People, we asked them if they wanted masks. We had little trolleys, different things like that as well. We had a van. Now, we had already prepped the parliamentary security to let them know this was happening. So we had this panel van, and it pulled around the corner, and it pulled up onto the sidewalk, and the door sprang open, and people actually descended on this van. And within 30 seconds, we cleared 200 signs out of this van and disseminated them out into the crowd. It was like, and I seriously mean 30 seconds. It was awesome. It was just like, whoosh, like this, and the doors closed on the van took off. Again, we actually let the parliamentary security know that this was happening, so we weren't going to actually, everybody get on the
Gotta
ground.
wipe off the free candy sign off the side of the van. It's free
Yeah,
signs.
yeah, and so it was stationed at a side street in case we needed to get to it right away, and that didn't happen. My job at the march was actually to be the last person at the march to ensure that everybody was one, keeping up, and two, that there was nothing, basically nobody left behind,
Mm-hmm.
and also there's no garbage or anything that was left on the streets or anything like that. So I got paired with Kyle Kincaid, and it was a perfect pairing. It was fantastic. Got to see a lot of people that I knew. There was a lot of people that I knew were coming that I didn't get to see, because believe it or not, there wasn't 800 people there. There was like 5,000 people. And the reason that I know that is because, again, I was the last person, right? And it took 15 minutes for me to cross the street from Parliament Hill to just across the street at Spark Street. And it was 15 minutes from when it started to actually till I got across the street. So that's not just a couple of people, it's a couple of thousand people. And we
Mm-hmm.
filled out Spark Streets as well. We stopped for a few minutes while we were in front of CBC, because that's actually where CBC Ottawa is. It's on Spark Street. And then we actually shortened the route just a little bit because there was so many people. Yeah, and it was quite peaceful, and it was really, really, really well done. And I'm so proud of the people that actually came. As I said, there's people there from every single province, despite COVID. There was people that drove. Kelly Merkel, he is from Sioux Lookout. He drove 22 hours to get to the march. So,
And you had
which
people from the Yukon
we had
and
people flew
BC and
yep, BC. We had people that represented retailers. So Bullseye was there, Odell Engineering was there, Select Shooting Supplies was there. People from Armalytics.ca were there.
oh, cool.
We had people from the gun store there. There was everybody there. There was people with kids. Like, okay, so I'm trying to get people to, because they're literally, so the Ottawa Police Services closed down all the streets for us as we crossed over them. And every time we got everybody across, they would open that street. And as I said, people were waiting for 15, 20 minutes, right? Anyways, so there was families there. There was one family there that had the younger woman. She was pregnant. Guy pushing a stroller. There's a baby a year and a half. They were actually in the march, and I'm going like, they were participating. They were the last ones across the street for everything, but still. Um, there was families, there was people from every race, color, creed, age group, demographic that you could think of. So it was really fantastic. It was great to see as well. We also had some politicians as well that did show up. So we had, uh, um, geez, we had a couple of those. We had a few people from the press corps. Rebel Media was there as well. And believe it or not, CBC was there. And I know that because they came and talked to me and asked me who they could interview. So I pointed out Tracy and Rod to them. So I don't know why they're saying they didn't get to interview them because we did actually see them interview them too. So, anyways.
They didn't really do
So
anything with that story, did they? Unless they like put it on, I don't know, CBC
they didn't do
nowhere,
anything.
right? So
So they,
CBC Timbuktu.
yeah, they didn't really do anything with it. And one reason is because it's not really a news story for them. Anyways, it's not fitting a narrative, and there
Hmm.
was nobody like we were polite and we were well organized, and
Maybe
nobody
they
was
couldn't
fighting.
reach Polytechnique for a comment to like get half the article completed by them, and then like they just didn't give enough time,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Imagine if there was like clashes, it would have actually said 10,000 people there. Anyways, they had a call. Never, no, they didn't. We actually cleaned up the streets afterwards. So the people that were protesting, there was a couple protests there. So
Hmm.
the people, other people were protesting. We were cleaning up their garbage for them. So it was like, anyways. So originally Kelly and I, we say that morning, Saturday morning, we actually checked out the hotel, and yeah, and after the march, yeah, Tracy's going, where the hell are you going? We're going, well, we're going home. And they're going, no, you're staying. So I kind of went and begged the hotel. We got another room that night, and we stayed over an extra night, and we closed down Trois Brasseurs. We met up with some of the Gunny Girls. So some of the alumni, they came out to the event, and some of the ones that are going to be in the calendar this year, they were there too. So it was like all the Gunny Girls. We had we had a really, really, really good time. We had some drinks with the Olympic team. So a couple of Alan Harding was there, as well as Mary Patrick, as well as a couple of other shooters from the Olympic team. They were there. Fantastic to actually see them and having them come support Gunnies as well. Alan Harding's going to be on the show in a little bit, so I'm trying to arrange a date for him too to come on. Yeah. So, and then just on Sunday we all packed up, went home. So that's it. Wednesday night skeet night didn't actually turn into a skeet night. Uh, uh, Somehow there was a miscommunication. I had to take a picture of Kelly's gun, her pistol. She has an Excalibur, and I was supposed to take a picture of it. So I said, "Why don't we do Wednesday night like we normally do, and you just bring your pistol, and I'll take some pictures of it." She goes, "Okay." She thought I meant let's do pistol on Wednesday night. So I'm at the skeet club, and she's at the pistol club. Now the lucky thing is, skeet club is right across from the pistol club, literally across the street. So I'm texting her at the skeet club. She's texting me, I'm at the pistol club. And I'm going, okay, cool. I have my skeet. I have my shotgun. I don't have a pistol. And she's going, I got my pistol. I don't have my shotgun. I'm going, all right. You're 45 minutes from home. I'm 5 minutes from home. I'll go get my pistols. I'll be back. So we went and shot pistol instead. Did a lot of action shooting, movement shooting, again with lateral, moving back forwards, and all that. We did it from a little bit greater distance, 25 meters. My shooting was a little off at first. I think it was because I've been doing arms quite a bit for them this week, so a little shaky. And then just got used to it again, and it was fine by the end of the. We shot about an hour and a half because the sun was starting to go down, but by the end of it, I was getting the hang of it again, so it was good. So that's the only pistol shooting I did. I didn't do skeet, and oh, by the way, so I'm at the skeet club. You have to pay every time you actually go, so I prepaid. I was all prepped,
Hmm.
so I was waiting for her. So I had my skeet bag, and in it, I had um, my shot shells. I had the top of them off. I went up to Tony, who's the guy that's working there. I said, "Can you punch a hole? We have cards." So I said, "Punch a hole for me, punch a hole for Kelly. I'll prepay her." I'm sitting there waiting, and Kelly's going, "Well, I'm not coming." I'm going, "Tony, Like, can I have this for next week? He said, sure, no problem. So we're going next week. It's already prepaid, whatever. But I'm driving, I'm like a bat out of hell trying to get my pistols. I have skeet shells or shells going everywhere. And I don't know if I was able to get them all out of the bottom of my car. Anyways, so they're all over the place. And yeah, that's about it. That
Yeah,
was
I just went through all my ammo cans and like reorganized them and put a bunch of 5.56 on stripper clips and whatnot
mm,
because that's a good thing to do. Have it all on
yeah,
stripper clips, super easy for matches and that kind of thing.
yep.
For this match, I brought. I'm like, I think I need to bring this. I always bring too much, so I'm like, I think I'm gonna bring this much of this ammo, this much of this ammo, and when I was done my last stage, I hadn't reloaded my handgun mags. I had 10 rounds, 10 loose rounds of 9mm, and 223. I had 30 rounds. I couldn't have done one more stage.
Ooh.
It was a
Yep.
little tight,
Oh,
tight.
yeah. So one of the things I did want to talk about is that match. Remember the match tech ammo that I bought? That was a super good deal. It was like
The Max
250.
Tech, yeah,
Yeah, the
steel.
max tech. It was $250 or $270 for 1,000 rounds.
No, less. It was
It
less.
was,
It was
yeah,
a
well,
lot
it's
less.
if it sucks. Anyways, getting really good at remedials, man.
That's good. That's good practice.
Yeah. No.
Remedials. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so it just sucks. But still, not bad. What else? Oh, and I cleaned out my gun room. It needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a couple hours last night cleaning it. I just actually couldn't handle it anymore. I'm a little OCD when it comes to anything, and but I walked into that room and I just went, oh my god. Anyways, spent a couple hours cleaning it. That's about it. And getting ready for Maple Seed this weekend. So, and
How many
everybody,
times is your dog gonna turn around? That's like 5. Oh, okay.
it's about average.
Yeah.
Anyways, people are dropping like flies into this one. I don't know what's going on
Out of.
out of the Maple Seed this weekend.
Oh.
So I have a big wait list. So yeah, I've just been setting out the wait list. So, but I had four people drop out this week. So
Yeah. I think I think I mentioned to you before. Like we send that email. It's like, hey, if you're like if you're in a vulnerable sector, maybe don't go to one of these things because of
and
the
people are
Rona.
going,
And people
oh,
are like, oh yeah, I guess I am in a vulnerable sector. Maybe I
hello.
shouldn't go to an event with 15 people. Yeah,
Did they just realize that?
maybe.
Oh man, no.
It just doesn't.
Anyways,
Yeah, it seems odd.
we've just changed actually today. We actually changed our grouping sizes for Toronto, Peel Region, as well as Ottawa. I think Ottawa's in it too. So we went from 50 to 50 on the so 50 groupings of 50 for like parties or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and 100 outside. We're
Mhm.
now back down to I think it's 10 and 25. So 10 inside, 25 out.
And see, Alberta has like way more cases per capita, and I don't think anyone cares.
Yeah. Anyways.
We just had like 110 more. Like yesterday, we had 110 more cases in Edmonton. Just in Edmonton. Edmonton's got like 1 million people. It's like, meh, you know, whatever.
Whatever.
We already did all the coronavirus stuff. We're not going to go back and do it again. We already did it once.
You don't want to do it again?
No.
We're backpedaling just a bit.
I think
don't
Albertans are not going to. No.
Albertans are a different breed of people.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
You give no literal
F's about any of this kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a little bit of
Yeah.
that. There's a little like a lot of like personal freedom. Like one of the things that our I'll go rabbit hole for like 1 minute. Our provincial doctor is saying, hey, we got this thing on this law in the books. We're allowed to force vaccinations if there's a pandemic. There's a pandemic. We're not going to force vaccinations. Why do we even have this law in the books? Maybe we should just give it up. And that never happens in government. Government almost never like voluntarily gives up power or authority. It's very odd, but like that's like an Alberta thing, right? It's like, oh, we don't actually need this authority. We're just going to get rid of it. What? Yeah, very odd. I'll be vaccinating. Like I'm not an anti-vaxxer or something like that. I will be
No,
vaccinating, but I support people's
right.
right
But at the
to
same
not.
time, I also support people's right not to actually get me sick. However, that said, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I don't like forced. It's kind of you're walking a line there, bud.
I don't
Just
like
saying.
any kind of authoritarian government policies, vaccines,
Uh,
anything. Just
I
put the
wonder if not.
vaccine out there. People will see like, oh, I get this. I don't have to put the mask on or do all this other stuff when I go to private businesses.
No,
Yep, fantastic. Hook me up.
we're starting to get into this George Orwellian 1984
Yeah,
stuff.
a little bit was like to do with like what's going on in the U.S. and like what Canadians are doing as a result of it, thinking that we're like I don't know relevant to America, and yeah,
Canada's totally a different country, right? You know,
I think
there's
some people see Canada as not America. We are defined by how we are different than America, which I think is the wrong way to look at it. I think it's like we're our own country. We're kind of like we're very similar to America, of course, but like just looking at it as we're better than America because of like I don't know
yeah.
poutine and politeness.
Okay, both of those are not.
Yeah,
Anyways, although poutine's pretty good. Oh my god, poutine. All right, let's get on with the show and let's stop talking about polite people and poutine
let's
because
talk
I'm
about
getting
guns,
right.
gun
Okay,
stuff. Hey,
yeah,
I like that
let's do
stuff.
that.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, I'm the
Time to
host,
get us.
right?
Time.
Okay.
Do you want me to like just sing a background song or something to like get us on to the next topic? Time
No,
to get a gun.
oh
That's what I've
god,
been
please,
thinking.
Dave, no. Anyways, upcoming events is sponsored by Telos Alpha. Telos Alpha is a Canadian digital agency that works exclusively with firearms vertical. They help with business processes, and Kelly can't talk, strategic planning, websites, e-commerce, and battling the stigma the industry carries with banks, merchant processors, and social media. Check out them at telosalpha.com. You can find out more about them there. So there is a couple of things that are going on.
I updated these.
Thank
I did
you.
some work.
Awesome. So Maple Seed, Bonneville, September 26th. Do you know how many spots there still are?
Like
There's a lot, aren't
7.
there?
Like
Oh
we got a
God.
big bay, and so we can put 15 people in there and keep the distancing.
Right.
I think
And
we're 8 out
zero
of 15.
F's to give for anyways. No,
No,
not
we're
really.
distancing. Yeah.
We care. Project Maple Seed cares.
Beautiful range too.
Yeah.
If
I've
you're like
never
in
been there.
Edmonton, it's like 2.5 hour drive out there, and it's a beautiful range.
I've never been there. I should get there. All right. Also, Chaz 3 Gun, October 3rd. You can find it on Practice Store. Apparently, there's a few spots there too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Our friends over at Lady Guns, they're having a couple events. I just wanted to tell you about the one that's at Calgary Shooting Center. It's on October 8th. There's also one at Shooting Edge on October 22nd. It's $30 to attend both of these events. You actually, all levels of people, it's ladies only, by the way. All levels of experience is welcome, and there's no palm needed as well. You can check them out at Lady Guns on Facebook for more details and to sign up for the events. So go check them out there. All right, let's get into the news. There's a whole bunch of donations that have been pouring in. This is actually, as of right now, the donations for the CCFR legal challenge. I'll read through them and then, Adriel, I'll turn it over to you and you can talk about what's new in the news.
Okay.
Salmon River Association, they donated $1,000. Club de Tir Brasseur, 2000. Sydenham Sportsman Association,
Very good.
$1,000. Summerlin Sportsman Association, 5,000. Niagara Regional Sportsman Gun Club is 4,250. Rocky Rod and Gun Club is $5,000. Sioux Lookout Handgun and Rifle Club was $1,000, and Pacific Recon in Ontario is 300. By the way, Pacific Recon, I want to say hi to you guys. They were out at the march as well. I saw them with their
Cool.
shirts, so that's cool. Let's get into the news.
Yeah, the first one is the CCFR Integrity March, which you covered and we'll cover more in our main topic.
What? Yeah.
Yep. The next one is it's like not really gun related, but I'm really petty, so I thought I'd include it. MEC has been went bankrupt and got sold to a U.S. investment company, and the reason why I'm petty is that 2 years ago they kind of threw a hissy and said we're not gonna sell any products that are also owned by Vista Outdoors because Vista Outdoors had like Savage and maybe some other like brands or some brands that they represented. So um, screw you, mech. Go woke, go broke. You want to get all like uppity about, oh, we won't sell these brands because they sell guns as well? Go broke. Good luck.
Yeah. So now they're actually picked up by a U.S. investment company, so maybe they'll pick up some
They'll make it
merchants.
worse. This isn't that actually probably isn't why they went broke. It's probably because like they changed their business model. They were like known for like really
Out-
niche, really high quality
Outdoors.
products,
Yeah.
and they had gone more to like selling like yoga pants and cheap stuff made overseas and that kind of thing. So they kind of lost their way and started competing with companies they shouldn't have competed with. That's probably why their business went bankrupt rather than the go woke thing. But I'm still petty, so I'll still say it.
Yep.
hmm
Yep. All right. So, New Gun Stuff is sponsored by Bolt Action Coffee. Slamfire Radio is now a brand ambassador for Bolt Action Coffee. The coffee is roasted in small batches, and it is quite honestly some of the best coffee you can get your hands on. It can be sent to your house by going to boltactioncoffee.com and ordering some. And as I said, it's roasted in small batches, so it's not readily available. I think they roast once a week. So if they don't have any right now, they'll be roasting it soon, and then it'll get sent to your house, and it's delicious. Use a French press, by the way. It is quite honestly the best way to have it.
Yeah, I think a French press is the way to go for coffee if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
hmm
Anyways, New Gun Stuff. Let's talk.
Oh, there's a couple of interesting things that have been happening recently. Okay, I'm going to talk about the first one, which was today. Today? Yesterday. I can't remember. Tactical Imports is bringing in the Type 81 light machine gun LMG. Not semi-auto only, 5 rounds only, but it looks like an LMG. It's like a machine gun. That's the Type
Is it?
81. Super cool. It's got like a
What is that?
bipod that's like attached to it. It's got like drum mags. Now you get it like that costs extra. The sling costs extra, but you got to get the one with the drum mag. It's got that like the carry handle that you'd see on like a machine gun. Yeah, yeah, really cool. $1,500, and
Oh,
then but if you want I think the drum mags are like $200, so you'll be up to 1,700, 1,800 pretty quick.
mm,
Now they all sold out. I think they all sold out. There's already guys scalping them on CGN for like way more, way more than that. So they'll clear Tactical Imports out and uh,
that's
put other
such a
stuff.
douche move. Sorry, just FYI. It
As
is.
as the frank capitalist I am, fills my heart with joy seeing people scalp those for $3,000.
Mm.
The next one is Wolverine Supplies has these Hanel. I don't know. This is German. How do you say this?
Oh,
Hanel.
yeah.
They're very expensive hunting rifles. Look very nice. Very
Yeah, they
expensive.
are.
You know, I say very expensive, but if you were to get into like a Sacco or
They're
something
not
like
that
that,
bad.
yeah, same price, same thing, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're in your classic hunting cartridges. A lot of them have iron sights, which is kind of interesting. The mags are European priced at right around 140 to $160.
So don't lose them.
Woo, yeah, don't just one. Don't lose it. Just leave it in the rifle. Actually, hand thumb those rounds in. But if you're looking for a fine European rifle, check out Wolverine Supplies website.
Yeah, they're nice looking.
This next one, I'm super duper interested in. Okay, so Brownells had this company called PWS make this 180 clone upper. Now the 180 clone upper, they made it to fit an AR lower.
Okay.
So not interesting to Canadians because an upper that can fit an AR-15 lower is an AR-15 upper, right? So who
Mm-hmm.
cares? Like, why it wouldn't even come up on our radar, and it was like $900 US, so it's too expensive compared to the other AR-15 uppers. But they also make a lower that is not an AR-15 lower. It's an
Oh,
AR-180 kind of lower, and they make some uppers that just fit that lower. Hmm. Now that is interesting. Now Iron Guns has a FRT for these things. There
mm.
are no photos of it, but just to give our viewers, you can't see this, Kelly, but our viewers will be able to see this. Just to give an idea of what this could look like. I've just got a picture of one of these BRN 180s up on this screen. That's what it could look like. So what this would mean, they're using the Nodax Spud lower, which is an American-made Air 180 lower. It's been made for a while. It's actually already in Canada. Range Warrior Accessories, RWA, they had been making rifles on the Nodax Spud lower. But this would be an American manufacturer times two, so lower and upper would both be American. And it would be a product that we're going to be getting up here in Canada very, very soon because, again, the FRT is already approved. They already have a prototype, and they already make a very similar rifle for the US. So this is, in my opinion, super duper exciting because some of the alternatives have had some parts issues, and I believe that a manufacturer who's manufacturing stuff for Brownells will have fewer parts issues. Now, some of the things that I would be wondering about would be, right now it's a right-hand charging handle only. That's okay on an AR lower because you can just use the bolt release and still go fast. I'm thinking about going fast to 3-gun, right? If it just had the charging handle on the right-hand side only, it would be a little bit slower if the lower didn't have some sort of like bolt release or something like that. So I do still prefer the left or right chargers because a left charger is going to be faster. Or a bolt release. So I hope when they bring them to Canada, they either also do a left-hand charging or their lower has some way of doing a bolt release. Because otherwise it's slow. You got to do like the AK, like to either go underneath or over the top to hit that charging handle, and both of them are slower than just using your left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine this is going to be like a $2,000 part because, or a rifle, because the uppers, you know, it's funny, Brownells is already making an 18.5-inch upper for this thing.
So
It's like, oh, that would be very handy for us here in Canada. Yeah, they've got, it's in 223 Wild, upper receiver, 18.5-inch barrel, so ready to rock and roll there. $900 US. This is probably going to be a $2,000 rifle by the time you get it all done, because you could take that and then you add on a lower. And the lowers are 150 US, and add on some parts and yada yada yada. You're at $2,000. Yep. I don't know if you saw these lowers. They've got at the back, because you don't need that buffer tube. They don't have a buffer tube. They've got a little section of Picatinny rail at the back, and there are a bunch of ultra lightweight folding stocks that attach to Picatinny rail. So the cool thing here, because up here in Canada you need that 18.5-inch barrel, you probably could still do a folder on it. So this would actually be a good option for us, having the ability to do a folder on the back and having a wide variety accessible because of that pick rail at the back would be super duper interesting. I was watching videos today and I was like, oh.
You're excited, right?
Yeah, because like Americans have been running these as pistols. They've been putting like braces and that kind of thing on them, but that stuff that we wouldn't need here in Canada. But this pick rail at the back, there's both fixed stocks, very ultralight fixed stocks, and folding stocks. Lots and lots of different options for folding stocks because it's got that standard Picatinny rail at the back. So I hope it's this BRN 180M. Lower, and the magwell looks a little bit better. It's a little bit longer and better supported. The original 180 magwell is just a little bit short and doesn't support the magazine as well as an AR-15 one does. So I think this is going to be a real neat option.
Game changer? Do you think?
Maybe, yeah. Like RWA's rifles would probably be like the best, but they just weren't sold a lot. The MCR is fine with some tweaks. The WK, again, we had like 3 failures over the weekend, so like there's issues there. But maybe they can get that fixed, or we can get an American rifle that just works.
Alrighty then. Let's get the American rifle that just works.
Yeah, I want that one. I want that one.
Okay.
I should sell my WK. I have a WK. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell that thing.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're gonna buy this. Okay.
Well, I can't buy it, but I will get the cash ready and the space in the safe. My safe space.
Safe space.
Yep.
You're gonna have a safe space. All right. Okay. Let's get into the main topic. So for tonight's main topic, we have DJ Yukon Strong Sumanek. You might
The
know him
man.
as Sumanek.
Yes.
There you go. Sorry. DJ, I've been following you for a little bit, but I was finally able to meet you at the CC for Integrity March. But before we get into your impressions and everything about that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, what types of shooting that you do,
Sure.
and
So, while I was born and raised in the Yukon, spent the majority of my life up here, but I did have a brief stint out of territory doing various things. I went to school, and I also spent some time actually as a professional Thai boxer.
cool.
Yeah, did a few years of that. In 2011, I got a bronze medal for Canada actually in the IFMA World Championships over in, actually it was in Iran.
Oh, that's
Uh,
very cool.
yeah, but that was just kind of an aside. The rest of the time, I've spent my life up here in the Yukon. I was born and raised on a trap line. Is where my dad started. He bred some animals in captivity for zoos, so we would go out and live trap the animals and
Okay.
try to breed them. We did lynx, marten, fisher, fox, and then the rest of the time when we weren't doing chores around the property and stuff, we were out there hunting, fishing, exploring, and doing adventures. And you know, one of the main reasons I sort of got online is because the last few years I've really noticed that it's not only on the firearms file, it's on the hunting file as well
Yep.
too. That there's been little microaggressions, not only provincially but federally, and it's been being done with the assistance of the media without a doubt. And I'm just looking around. I'm like, where are our associations? Where are our MPs? Where somebody's got to stand up to these bullies, and nobody. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's quite a few people doing it, but I feel like in general, these, in particular, hunting and firearms are two topics that it seems like our politicians are reluctant to speak about in many
Mm-hmm.
respects. And of course, when they need our vote, oh yeah, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you. But then all of a sudden it goes dead silent. And kind of the straw for me was in the run up to Bill C-71. I recall Andrew Scheer. He was when the leadership race was on, he was going around to talking to gun owners, talking to gun groups and stuff. And then once he won the leadership, he went like dead silent for about 14 months there. And there was daily attacks in the media, daily attacks by Liberal MPs. And it culminated, of course, with Bill C-71.
C-71, yeah.
I was like, I was actually, I called out Scheer quite a few times there on social media, and it's nothing personal to him. I think he's a good guy, and I'm a conservative voter myself, of course, but I just felt like it was
There was no support?
well, I felt like it was a period in time where Canada needed somebody to say, "Hey, enough's
Mm.
enough, Justin Trudeau. Enough's enough, Liberal Party of Canada. We've gone past, equality and safety. We've moved into entitlement, and now we're going past entitlement into full-on
Yeah.
intolerance." And
Yeah.
it was a breaking point for me. I started to get involved and do what I could do online.
So let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, how'd you come up with Yukon Strong?
Well, it was just a moniker, I just came up with it. There's lots of things strong, but
Yeah.
I, I do also feel it's a bit of a reflection. The folks from up here, we are a small place, but we are fairly mighty. You'll come across the average Yukoner up here, and we're perfectly comfortable in 40 below, or hiking up a mountain with mosquitoes in your face, and hunting, fishing, firearms, absolutely
Yeah.
outdoor community. And
So firearms and hunting is basically a way of life up there.
yes, for most of the residents who were born here, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been having a lot of folks move up here lately. It's growing a lot, and many of them are actually seeking outdoor stuff too. But there's a large percentage of the population who's coming from like places like Toronto and Vancouver, so they're kind of more urban oriented too. So we're getting a little bit of a we're starting
Urban
to see,
vibe.
well, we're starting to see the same sort of attitude that's reflected naturally or nationally by mainstream media. Start up here, there are people complaining, but their residents instantly like, whoa, no, that's not okay. This is if you want to live that lifestyle, it's time to move back to Toronto.
Yeah.
So, but it's a very magical place up here. A lot of people, they'll come up just for a 1 week visit, and they wind up never leaving because it's just
They wind up
it's
staying.
yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things you said that you've started out on social media. So you have YouTube, you're prolific on Twitter, you got your Facebook, you've even started writing articles as well. I've read a few of them that are on Post Millennial. Have you been published other places? What else are you doing?
No, that's pretty much it. What what I try and do is I look at the dishonesty from anti-gun lobbyists, dishonest narratives that are presented in the media, and
Hmm.
if you go look at articles in the comment section, there'll be hundreds of gun owners saying, wait, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and it's constantly corrected. Yet the next day they'll post another one. So I try and look at those situations and present some evidence. I want people to use my content as ammunition to push back against that. And while I'm just, basically some guy out there, it's not like I have this huge empire behind me or certifications or anything. The reality is this: every single gun owner in this country has to take, heavy certification before they are licensed. And we are verified that we understand this topic, by police. And the bottom line is, if we don't know this topic, we don't get licensed. So when we have this discussion online, people who are licensed, people who are not licensed need to recognize the fact that the folks who own guns know what they're talking about, because if they don't know what they're talking about, they go to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of the your more shared or more viewed YouTube videos are setting the record straight on restricted firearms. You were really articulate in that, and it was well viewed, especially for Canadians too. Canadian media actually took snippets of it as well, and then also tearing apart the Trudeau anti-gun narrative in 2 minutes flat. Those are your two most prolific. Then the most recent one that you did was the CCFR integrity march. You did a little bit of a view of that. It's the one where you showed how many people. It was the sped up, basically the sped up video where you see everybody, but you're also interviewing people too. So let's talk a little bit about the integrity march. First of all, you had a lot of people coming up to you, and a lot of people coming up to you saying, "Hey, it's Yukon strong." How did that feel?
Actually, I was pretty surprised.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Like, I mostly just wanted to, like I said, get evidence that how many people were there and that there was some serious support. But it was pretty cool that lots of people that I've, even just like the first guy there, his name was Chris W. He
Yeah,
sent me.
he's actually a regular listener watcher of the show, by the way.
Oh, cool. Wow. He sent me one little YouTube comment like a long time ago
Yeah.
because he was having heart troubles like I was. And, he remembered me. Like, I was like, man, that really affects me. When I saw all the people out there who recognized me, who, respected what I've been doing.
Yep.
There's times, like when you're online, it's stressful, man. You're like always fighting with people. It's exhausting. You have to do this and that, and you have to monitor what's happening all the time.
Yeah.
And there's days where I just want to throw in the towel. But having those people come up to me and say hello, it reminds me that I can never, ever give up. And I want
Yep.
any anti-gun folks out there watching this to hear me right now. I am not going anywhere. This fight is going to get nasty, and I am prepared to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to make sure that we win, because we are standing up for not only ourselves, but every single Canadian in this country, including them, whether they realize it or not. And
Yep.
civil liberties right now are more important than ever in 2020. We have seen this world become more violent, more divided, more dangerous, and governments become more and more oppressive and tone deaf to many situations around the world. And
Mhm.
right
Well,
now,
we're on the
we
same path as New Zealand or
well,
Australia with respect to our firearms laws right now.
uh, Justin Trudeau is not going to be prime minister forever, Kelly, just
We hope
because
so.
yeah, it's there's only one place to go for him now.
Yeah.
And
So
go
you
ahead.
were talking, Chris came up to you, and I know that he talked to you in the video, but I also know that you said, well, you just said that he's made comments to you. So overall, people are familiar with you, and they really, as I said, they really respect what you're doing, and also the information that you're giving and the way that you're giving it as well. It's very respectful and well researched. But people who are listening or people who are viewing the video, do you want to just tell them how you're feeling? Because that's a lot of the questions that you were getting, because you let people know that you've been sick recently. So just before we move forward, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Like I'm tired. I actually spoke to my doctor this morning, and they just did a whole bunch of tests and ultrasound stuff, and everything seems to be okay. My blood count has returned to normal and all that.
Good,
And he says I probably don't need another checkup till December now.
good.
So I was having a little bit of stuff there, like a fever and stuff for a while after first got out.
Mm,
And, but that's gone now. I'm just really tired is really
mhm.
what it is, and I think some fresh air, and as soon as my chest feels like I'm going to be able to start going to the gym again and everything, like my left arm, it feels like it shrunk like
It probably
50%.
has.
Like what is going on here? I feel like a noodle.
All
uh,
right,
I feel pretty good though. Yeah,
good.
it's
Yeah,
recovering.
that's the number one question. People were coming up, "Hey, Yukon," and then they were going, "How you feeling?" Because everybody, everybody who has been watching you has been following you. They're concerned about your health as well. So, um, speaking of which, so the CCFR Integrity March was happening. Why'd you come? Why did you actually get on a plane, fly from the Yukon when you were basically just getting out of the hospital?
Well, first of all, when Tracy first announced it a while ago, I was like, Tracy, it's right in the middle of hunting season.
I
I
know.
was like, you guys, this is. If I honestly, if I hadn't have gotten injured, I probably wouldn't have been able to come. I would have had to go and do stuff and whatever, right? So,
Yeah,
bottom line is maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Now I'm on track for my health long term,
good.
and I got a chance to go out there, and you know, I knew that Rod and CCFR and Tracy, this was, a little bit of a risk for them because, if not a whole lot of people would have came, it could have, harmed their credibility a little bit.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I got to do whatever I can to help them. We got to get some people out there. We got to get feet on the ground. We got to spread the word. And I thought that um, it was symbolic for me that I was willing to do that. People look to me sometimes online, to speak for them. And how am I supposed to do that if I'm not going to show up at the first firearms rights rally in a generation? You
Right.
know, um, I couldn't have been happier with the turnout, and I really hope Tracy and Rod have another one, because if they do another one, I guarantee you it's going to be like 3 times as big now. So many
Yeah.
people are texting me, "Oh, I wish I was there," "Oh, I should have came," when's the next one and stuff. And like now, because they know there's a base turnout,
Yeah.
it'll be it'll be huge.
So my impression was that with COVID, essentially this past weekend was supposed to be TACCOM, and unfortunately TACCOM was put on hold or is deferred until April because of COVID. So it
Mhm.
was kind of like a blessing in disguise, so that we were able to actually hold the march. However, because of COVID, we weren't sure how many people would be in attendance because exactly of that of COVID. But pleasantly surprised when we came came up the hill and saw all these people, and Tracy's on the comm going, get people here now, get the volunteers here now. People were showing up and everything. But overall, let's talk about your overall impressions of the day, how it went, your thoughts on the march itself.
I think it was extremely positive. Positive in the sense of like the atmosphere of everyone there. It was just a really good vibe. Everybody was happy. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was polite. Everybody was calm, organized, respectful. I honestly can't really recall, a group like when there's been that large of a group together, when there hasn't been, some yahoo doing something stupid, and everybody was just like A plus plus plus, like the cameras, and they could have come up and interviewed anyone there. It wouldn't have mattered if it was me or Tracy or Rod. We would have all said the right thing, and you could see that on Andrew Lawton's. He did a piece on True North
Yeah, I
there,
did.
and he was just interviewing random people, and people of all colors, races, creeds, religions were there. Men, women, children. Super super inclusive event, and everybody had the same thing: get off our backs, we're not doing anything wrong. Why do we have to do this? And I think it really sends a message to the powers that be and the folks that are really trying to harm us, that um, they're facing an uphill battle right now. There are a lot of people from a lot of different groups that don't want this ban or any further restrictions. And there's a lot of people who aren't even gun owners that were
Yeah.
there who are saying, hey, wait a minute.
Yep.
Maybe we need to slow down and have a think about this, because if we're going to just start seizing property without even discussing it in Parliament, well, guess what? Like I said, Justin Trudeau is not going to be Prime Minister forever. What happens when a government that you don't like is in power and they decide that you don't deserve to have anything? And oh, here's a little order in council. See you later. So I think there's a lot of power in that message that we really want to focus on. This isn't necessarily property rights. This is, or sorry, this
Human
isn't
rights.
firearms rights. It's actually
Yeah.
property rights, which makes it a human right,
Yeah.
because humans have a right to own property, period.
So you were saying that there was people there that were in support of the march, or there was people there in support, not necessarily of firearms, but we actually saw people on the side of the road holding a sign that says, I don't like guns, but I still believe in firearm rights. And
Yeah.
these people actually look like they ate a lot of granola, let's just say, right? They weren't the typical, gun owner or whatever, but we had people along the side of the road as well holding up signs and supporting the march itself. So let's talk about the media reporting. What happened?
Things. Number one, due to my recovery, I got to eat a lot of granola now.
Granola is still good, I know, but we're doing you're not the stereotypical granola eater either, right?
I just eat like 3 giant cheeseburgers right now, but I can't. And number two, I actually interviewed one of those people. It's going to be on my Twitter here in the next couple of days. I got it on auto tweet or whatever. So look for that. You can hear that side of the story too on my page. Sorry. And now what was the question again?
So the question was, overall, the media. There was media at the march. Andrew Lawton was there. Rebel Media was also there, but there were some other people there too. The people that were there underreported what was going on, or they didn't really tell the truth about some of
They
the
all
things.
used the same. They all bought the same crappy article from the Canadian press, which I don't know if they were there or not. I don't think so. but they had a hot take on it, and everyone bought it. The CBC bought it, City TV, everyone bought the same article, and just popped it up on the website, and they're like, done, reported
Yep.
on.
Well,
I haven't even seen that CBC. I haven't seen any original CBC article or anything on it yet.
They're
Wait a minute. First of all,
go ahead.
hi, Adriel.
Hey.
I'm a huge fan. I didn't know if I was allowed to talk to you or not.
He jumps in every once in a while.
Avert your eyes.
Yeah.
You're allowed to talk, but the eye contact, no way. No.
Yeah, I go to your page all the time you do great reviews of the firearms and the situation.
I'll be over here. You guys can share the bromance, you know.
The CVC, wow, where do I start with them? It's interesting that even though it's pretty clear at this point that CBC has documentable bias against firearms owners. Okay, like for instance, there's that CCFR report that was done. It just goes through all their articles and proves it, right? Even though the rest of the other mainstream media, they, like Adriel said, they just sort of replayed it and sent it all out. The fact is they felt a need to respond, right? Which means what we're doing is starting to work. They're worried about our message, okay? Even though they're doing everything they can to suppress that message, it's still having an effect. They're still aware of it. And they did send someone down there. There's videos you can see on Tracy's channel. They recorded her interview, and it wasn't controversial. It wasn't, aggressive or anything. She was very
articulate.
Yeah, articulate. And what happens? Radio silence, and who do they call? They call Polly, and Polly in the last few days they've been starting to harp on me now. They're retweeting.
I saw that.
My stuff on social media. Somebody took a picture of my chest. They were calling me a radical gun activist and all these things. And I am just literally some random guy, from the Yukon. I'm not, I guess I am an activist now. I think that's a fair statement, but it's not because, I have an agenda. I'm responding to an aggression. I have no choice. If I remain silent, people are going to do bad things to me. The government is going to do bad things to me. And that is the heart of this matter. They would never have seen my face. They would not know my name. They would never have seen any of my videos if they simply would have left me alone. And they can't do that. They can't seem to just live and let live and have people, have alternate lifestyles. It's not about, trying to find an answer to public safety or gun violence. It's about weaponizing the issue for political gain and absolutely controlling and dominating the people that they disagree with. And that kind of thinking is dangerous. This has all happened before, you know what I mean? So we need to shut it down now. And the CCFR has a super, super positive message, super, very clear mandate. They've made me a believer. I've checked out some of the other gun organizations and stuff, and I'm willing to work with anyone who is willing to assist gun owners in this country. But I think the one thing that separates the CCFR is they are seeking a dialogue. They're seeking a conversation with the folks who are still reasonable. Sorry, I'm getting phone calls here. That is the key to changing the situation, is that we have to reach those people somehow, some way. We have to do it peacefully. We have to do it intelligently. And I think like I said, it's starting to work. They're having to respond to our narrative. And I know I'm babbling a bit here, but I want to say to all the gun owners out there watching this that, it's important to respond to things from like Polly and the docs for promotion of gang violence when they make these crazy posts. It's important to respond to them, but the real game changer is when we start forcing them to respond to our narrative. So every time you go to, engage in debate on one of their BS posts, I want you to put a post on your page out there that other gun owners can tweet a positive message about gun ownership and stuff. Because the reality is, there's like maybe 100 anti-gun folks, like really hardcore anti-gun folks that are active on social media. There are thousands and thousands of us, and if we just start putting out our message, we'll drown them
in a positive manner.
Yeah, in a positive manner.
Yeah.
People will be
Because
like,
if we do it in a way that is not so positive, they'll just say, "Hey, look, see what we're having to deal with."
Positively drown them. Drown them positively. Drown them positively. Drown them positively. Drown them.
That's a good example there, because I said that. They're like, "Oh, that's a violent expression." No, I mean like drown their message, not drown.
Right.
Like, give me a break. Yeah, but I think that's the kind of the next step for us is we have to take our message and make it the loudest one. And guess what happens? It's a really good message, and we have all the data and all the statistics to back it up. It's a really, really hard argument to come back against. The only one they have is like you said, to demonize us, make us look violent, make us look stupid, make us look weak.
Unfortunately, what we're seeing is a little bit more of the opposite. I recently saw a friend of mine who is somebody who is a hunter, and they're quite notable. And she was being targeted this week by people who are from one of the groups. PETA is one of them, and quite the messaging was horrific, basically, threats towards her and her family and different things like that. So it's not acceptable, and it's almost like it's what they're accusing us of is what they're actually doing. So it's unacceptable. So we have to actually, as you said, do it well, but also just push back and use knowledge and logic and do it in a way that is respectful as well.
You know what? All those folks posting those nasty messages, they wouldn't pass the CFSC. They would not get their gun license because
no, they wouldn't.
They would have difficulty finding a person to stand up and say, oh yeah, he or she could probably be a gun owner safely. It's like I said, that kind of intolerance it's growing everywhere, and it needs to be confronted immediately. Everywhere you see it, in a grocery store, in your workplace, online, just say, hey, I'm one of the people that you're talking about. Can you explain to me what exactly what you're talking about? Because they like to do it from, the comfort and safety of their couch on their phone. But face to face, when you and I are looking them in the eye, they'll start humming and hawing. And particularly, when you remind them, there are children who engage in this sport. There are athletes. You have to, at some point, say who is the real extremist here. And firearms have been a part of Canada since before Confederation, hundreds of years now. If the problems existed that Pauly Sassourian and these folks suggested, even if 1% of Canadians were engaging in the behavior they accuse us of, that's 22,000 homicides a year. Where is all the murder from licensed gun owners? And I believe it was Senator Andre Pratt. Yes, it was during the C-71 hearings. He had StatsCan do a special commission on the number of licensed gun owners involved in a homicide. And the number, I believe he came back, was 186 suspects over the last 10 years, not convictions.
Yeah.
Suspects. He didn't quote the convictions because the number probably would have been so low it's laughable. But that is an exceedingly good number. There are countries who would be overjoyed to have that low of a homicide rate amongst the demographic. And, you know, like that's like what, 18 people a year out of 2.2 million. Obviously, the guns aren't the problem. It's some sort of other factor with that particular person or their situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we proved it at the Integrity March. Thousands of gun owners came together. Nobody brought any sort of weapon of any kind. Nobody, I didn't even hear a swear word for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? Like, it was as peaceful as a protest as it could be, as clean as a protest could be. And that is a reflection of who we are in the real world, gun owners. Sorry.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It was, yeah, it was peaceful. It was fantastic. I was so impressed with everybody that showed up. Why don't we talk about what's next for you? What's coming up?
Well, I have a couple of ideas for some more good videos to put out regarding some more statistical and truth or facts things. I'm working on a website. I've been working on it for ages, and I can't seem. I always have my fingers in too many pies. So I'm trying. I really want to get that done because I want to consolidate like some of my best content somewhere for other gun owners out there to use as a reference so they can link it. I am also working on an outdoor-based show in the background here too. I'm going to start sharing some of my wilderness adventures.
Okay, cool.
With Canada. I was hoping to have the first season of it wrapped up this fall, but because of my heart, now it's probably going to be realistically a full year before I have enough episodes because we have to wait.
Have you shopped around for networks for that, or are you going to do it through social media, or what are you going to do?
Well, I was supposed to film 2 episodes of The Edge with Wild TV.
Okay.
Now, what happened was my father went. There 2 things happened. Number 1, the COVID thing happened, so we lost the film permit on one of the sites we were supposed to go to. And then number 2, I got sick, so it's just going to be my father on that one. But I think we are going to have an episode with Steve Eckley. He's going to come on our show. He's going to come on with us just for fun. And we'll see what happens with that. I don't know 100% for sure, but I talked to a few of the guys at Wild TV, and they said, yeah, we want to see what you're working on. So who knows? Anything could happen. I'm hoping, you know, that the main thing that comes out of it is that I want to show. I don't really care so much about the TV show aspect or getting it syndicated or networked or whatever. I just want to share who I am. I want to share the beauty of the wilderness, of hunting, of firearms ownership, and the way of life that is being completely ignored by mainstream media. And I also want to make folks recognize that it's hunters. We are stewards of the wilderness. We engage in wildlife management. That's the bottom line. Without us, the government would be in serious trouble. Species would be in serious trouble. And you know, we're being used just like gun owners as a political pawn for vote-rich urban centers that people that don't understand it. But the folks in that mindset, I want to start reaching them. And so far, the people I've shown, I've put out a few little tests, and the reaction has been really positive. My father and I, we go to some very, very remote areas. We you know, like for instance, the first 2 episodes we shot last year, it was, I think, a 3-hour float plane flight, and then we hiked about 40 kilometers from that site, right? So nobody's around. There's no humans. There's no quads. There's no trails. It's all done on foot, and it's just magic out there. Gives me chills just thinking about it.
You're looking forward to doing it again?
Well, I just really think that the more of that world I could share with people, uh,
Hmm.
the more I think it could have a positive effect for everyone. You know, like we're all at each other's throats about everything, and it's time to stop. We're all Canadians. We're supposed to be like polite. You know, I used to be I used to be able to
Yeah.
sit down at the table and disagree and be like, oh well, let's just talk about something else. You know, like whatever. But now it's just like, you don't agree with me. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they want to freaking find out where you work. They want to get you fired. They want to
Hmm.
embarrass you, harm you, however they can. And
Hmm.
it's on every freaking issue. And it's like I said, what I'm doing, it's a response to that aggression. If folks just leave me alone, I will disappear. I don't want to do this. I have no choice, because if I don't, my way of life will be eradicated in my lifetime.
Yeah.
What do you like to do? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Adriel,
Well,
what do you got?
you can see like a big difference there. Like, I think BC is like the clearest example of most of the population is in Vancouver and the Lower Mainland, and if they had their way, they would vote in some stuff that would not fit the rest of that province. The rest of that, and the vast majority of like land size of that province doesn't match with how they want things to go. There was an article just recently here about a wolf that was shot, and it was just a big travesty because everyone knew the wolf except for the hunters who saw a wolf and shot it legally. And I think that that's kind of like, oh, that's like the sharp tip of the spear of, are they going to ban wolf hunting? Are they going to ban bear hunting? Here in Alberta, here they banned spear hunting, and I mean the only people who spear hunted are like real enthusiasts, people who are really like want to do this thing. That's a very challenging thing to try out, and I think would frustrate most people who tried to do it.
Yeah.
But they banned that, so they're starting to ban on like the bottom half, like spear hunting and some of these other things, and then on the top half, it's like, oh well, you want to go hunting with a 460 Weatherby? Nope, can't do that. You want to hunt with this or this? Nope, can't do that. And they're starting to like whittle it down to just this like narrow band of what is acceptable, which I don't know. I think is wrong. I think that a lot of different people want to do things in different ways, and I'd rather everyone, as long as they're not harming other people, would be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah. You have to just start challenging that thinking, changing the mindset.
I think
I think you're,
some of it we're our own worst enemy. Like the Alberta
yeah.
one, when I asked them about the spear hunting thing, oh, they did a survey of hunters, and hunters said that they didn't want to spear hunt, so we made it illegal.
Well, they don't want
It's
to
like,
spearhead because they
wow.
don't,
Well, and
right?
it kind of becomes like tyranny of the majority as well.
Yeah.
Like if the majority of hunters just want to hunt with a bolt action rifle, great, but they shouldn't be able to dictate that's the only thing. That's the only way that people hunt, because different strokes for different folks. Some people want to go
Yeah.
spear hunting. Some people
I'm
are
not,
like Olympic javelin throwers, and they want to spear hunt, and they probably can, right? Or some people want to bow hunt, and it's like, yeah, that's harder. That's a frustrating endeavor to get into. But if people want to bow hunt, they should be allowed to.
mhm.
So we'll go back to the very first point you made there about the wolf. Did anyone discuss that the fact that, taking that wolf probably saved, I don't know, 20 ungulates? Like a singular wolf
Yeah.
um, is like, what my experience with wolf packs, what they do is they'll take a kill, and often they don't even eat the entire kill. So they'll go out and they'll be following a herd of whatever caribou and not, they'll take it down, or bison, and then they'll eat, and then the meat starts to spoil, and then they'll move on. Now, that's, from an ecosystem perspective, a bear is going to come and probably finish up the rest, so it doesn't all go to waste. But the point I'm trying to make is that the wolves take more than they actually need, and then they have babies like crazy, man. And then all of a sudden, now you're seeing it in northern BC. They're
Hmm.
complaining about caribou populations there, trying to shut down hunting and stuff. And it's like, hunting is way, 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 way less of a percentage of the mortality. The two biggest things are predators and loss of habitat. And anyone who doesn't believe that, to the folks living in downtown Vancouver, when was the last time you seen a grizzly bear walk down the street? Okay, they're walking around all over around here because our way of life hasn't extirpated them. Now, at the end of the day, um, you know, I think hunting, it's an emotionally charged aspect.
Yep.
You know, when I take an animal's life, I still feel it. You know, I don't enjoy watching an animal struggle and die. But Adriel brought up the 460 Weatherby. Let me tell you something. Nothing is going to struggle and die. They're not. It's going to be far more humane to take an animal with a large caliber rifle like that. You use, like, say, Akubon ammunition. It has like concussive effect, and they just drop. They're dead within 30 seconds. Um, you know, a natural death for them is getting eaten alive or starving and getting sick in the winter. You know, it's and on top of that, we have wildlife management quotas um, in the government, because if you harvest, it's like kind of like crop rotation. If you harvest certain species at certain numbers, you can actually inflate the numbers for everything, and you know, sustain more than if you just left them alone. So I don't know, like spear hunting, I've been close enough a couple of times, you know, but I'm thinking to myself, man, that would be like, probably the animal's going to run a long ways, you know, but to each their own, you know, if people got to do it, you know, it really doesn't matter. As long as the animal is harvested legally, as long as it's harvested within, you know, a wildlife management perspective, what is best for the species, and as long as it's recovered and nothing goes to waste, it doesn't really matter, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep. Exactly. Adriel talked about a wolf, and recently we had a coyote here, and we have coyotes all over the city here, but we had a coyote, and people were quite upset about people killing coyotes, and especially one person, she was upset about it, and then the coyote came in and took her cat.
yeah.
So they get upset, and then when then their pets start disappearing, then they're not as upset. But anyways, let's talk about where can people see your stuff, or where can people get in touch with you if they're interested in suggestions for topics, or if they just want to talk to you.
So I'm most active on Twitter, and then I'm trying to get my YouTube channel up a little bit more so people can share it on other social media platforms. My Facebook is kind of abysmal. I'm like, everything on my Facebook is like a month old. I like managing my social media is becoming a full-time job these days, because like I have to do the post, and I gotta upload it to this site and do it to that site and do it to this site, and then people start commenting and everything. So it's a heck of a lot of work. So best place probably still is Twitter, but once I get my website going, I'm going to try and consolidate the best things of each place, and then that way there'll be sort of more of a reference for that.
So you needed an assistant then?
No, well, I don't know, maybe, I guess, but I just what I need is for the right thing to happen in Canada and out of our lives, so that I don't have to do this anymore. And you know, I would encourage folks out there watching this to get involved, start donating to CCFR, your local you know, shooting club, anything that you can do to assist any sort of a pushback at any level of government right now is absolutely vital. You know, there's 2.2 million of us, and you know, we've seen some great support recently. We now have the #1 and 2 petitions, I think, e-petitions in Parliament.
Yep.
We have hands down the biggest pro firearms rights march in 20 years. Made the anti-gun protest look like it was embarrassing how bad theirs was compared to ours. And you know, that's great, but there's still, you know, a huge majority of gun owners out there who are just watching this, and I know they're complaining. I see them on the street, they talk to me, they're complaining about what's going on, but you got to get involved online, you got to take action, you got to do stuff. And I know it's annoying, I know it's people, it's just so much easier just to not get involved. But if we just make a hard push right now. Oh, and one other thing too that people need to do is they need to get more people into hunting and shooting. If we all just get one more person involved in hunting, and shooting, our numbers double, and then we will be about 10% of the Canadian population, and that will be the nail in the coffin. No party will be able to mess with us politically without serious repercussions. So next year, I want you to get someone a restricted license, get them into pistol shooting, and that'll be that.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else that Adriel? Any other questions you have for DJ?
No, I think it's been fantastic. I mean, the time's just flown by here. We should probably have you on again.
Yep. So why don't we actually touch base again in a couple of months, maybe?
Sure.
See how things are going, and see if you can get some of your TV series up and running, and see how things are going. But
do you want to tell them the story about the keloids?
Why don't you tell it?
So the first, when I came out to Ottawa and I was meeting everyone, there's two sort of main Kellys at the CCFR, and they were.
We share a brain, share everything.
Yes, and they're both fantastic ladies, very, very polite, very friendly, very helpful, very organized too, I'd like to say. You guys were like the shepherds, getting everything. And then, sure enough, Kelly number one, I guess we'll call you.
Okay.
You texted me, she said, hey, do you want to come on Slamfire Radio? And I said, okay. And so then I texted her, I said, to the Kellys with her number, but I got auto-corrected and it said to the Keloids. So now every time I see them together, I go, Keloids!
So we were the Kellys. We're affectionately known as Kellys, the Kellys. It's like, you know, the Heathers from the movie The Heathers, but we're nice. So we got the Kellys, or we got Kelly's Square, and now we're the Keloids. So, and we answer to anything really, as long as Keloids. Anyways, so that's the story of anyways.
Thanks for having me on, guys, and nice to meet you, Adriel. I hope we can have another discussion, a little bit more interactive in a future date. It's awesome. It's just one more example of finally getting to meet the people out there online, you know, in person, and to see them face to face. That's really one of the favorite things I enjoyed at the Integrity March, was finally meeting everyone. And they were just as cool as I thought they would be. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
You need to go up to the Yukon, go on a hunting trip.
It's not that far.
I know. You're in Edmonton.
Yeah, this is the last like civil 1 million person city until you're like up in the middle of nowhere.
I can get you a small game license actually out here. I believe it is possible for you to do so. We could do like grouse hunting or something if you came out in the fall. But other than that, the only other, you could come along on a hunt, but I don't think the only other way to hunt up here is you have to get guided, which is big money. Super.
Yeah. Sounds like big American money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a Canadian YouTuber money here. I can't afford that stuff.
Probably.
But it sounds like, you guys are, you know, it's like a bromance. Anyways.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll touch base in a little bit.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Right. Once again, we want to say thank you to DJ for coming on and chatting us up about the Integrity March and also everything that's going on in the Yukon. We're going to probably have him back on because I like that dude. I hung out the whole weekend with him. He's awesome. So
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a bromance going on, wasn't there? There was, like, huge.
We were both a little bit into hunting. Yeah. A little bit into that.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Why don't we get into listener feedback? Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, Cerakote finishes, as well as wood refinishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearms, accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca. And you can also check them out on Instagram and the Facebooks as well. So say hi to him for us if you do actually chat with him. Denny is a super nice guy. And apparently, Adriel not Adriel, Trevor might even be going back to work from him, maybe
Yeah.
once a week or so.
Mhm.
Anyways, so
Doing
go
some
over
work
and
over
say
there.
hi to him.
Yeah.
All right. Anything that we haven't been covering as we go through it?
I think we've been hitting more or less of everything. Ethan's
Excuse
saying
me.
based and Adriel pilled. I'm not sure which rant he was referring to there, but
Sorry, who? What?
Ethan,
What about it?
he commented on Facebook. That's the part we're doing right now, right? Facebook
Yeah.
comments. Yeah.
Yep.
Said based and Adriel pilled. I'm not sure which one that's covering though.
Not either.
I have lots of rants that I go through. I'm not aware of which one I just did.
Oh, come on. You don't rant.
Sometimes.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. Was it the one with Mac? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. I'm going to cover Josh. And the reason that I'm going to read Josh is because guess what?
He's your buddy.
You get Spencer. You get Spencer.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh is my buddy.
Yeah.
From Josh, it says, "Hey guys, great turnout last weekend at the Parliament building in Ottawa for the Integrity March. I estimate there was well over 1,000, if not 2,000, in attendance. Even though the Liberal radio (CBC) downplayed it and said there were only 800, there was actually quite much more than that. So, shout out to Tracy and Rod for organizing the great event." Anyways, this email has to do with bullet weights. Traditionally, I use firearms for hunting and therefore understand the difference between bullet weights for killing, power and accuracy, etc. However, how does this apply to handgun rounds, specifically 9mm? Usually, I find that the budget ammo is 115 grain. Don't get the matchstick. Recently, I watched a YouTube video from Hiscock45, and he says how much he prefers 147 grains and even the 124 grain over the 115. I think those are correct weights. I don't have much pistol experience, but have shot all three weights, and I didn't notice a huge difference. What are your thoughts on one weight over the other in 9mm? On a side note, try searching for on Google for how much Hiscock45 gets paid by YouTube for his videos. It's mind-blowing number. Probably similar to what podcast hosts get paid. Josh. Yeah, we don't get monetized like Hitchcock45. Yeah.
Hickok 45.
Not Hitchcock, yes. Hickok.
So like there's estimates on that kind of stuff, but unless there's an article from him, you don't know. The estimate that I saw was like 1 mil a year. But it's likely less than half of that because you don't make as much revenue per view on gun stuff as you do on other stuff. So, unless he said how much he makes. There is a video that says, that's someone else though. They don't actually know.
We should have him on again.
I don't know. Hey, how much do you make? Is that a rude intro?
Listen, Josh wants to know how much you make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's kind of like asking how a woman how old they are. How old are you? How much do you weigh? Anyways, speaking of weights, let's talk about 147 versus 124, which is versus 115. So,
if you shoot a competition where you need to knock over steel, the heavier stuff's better. Like IPSC kind of a thing. If you need to hit power factor, it's easier to do so with 147. Trevor and Matthew like 147 because they say it shoots smoother.
It's heavier.
And there's probably something to it.
It's got more pep. Yeah.
Loading a mag. If you get a mag full of 147 grain bullets, it does have a little bit more inertia going in, which could be a good or bad thing. A mag with some rounds in it will drop faster with 147s. Long story short, if price was the same, you'd get 147s. The price is not the same. They're cheaper for the 115s and they're cheaper for the 124s.
Right.
So I would say if you're shooting IPSC and you don't really care, 124s would be fine. If you're not shooting IPSC and you're just putting holes in paper, shoot 115s. They're cheap.
115 is the cheapest, but hey, I'm shooting the 115s for just giggles right now, because it was cheap, and as I said, I'm having a lot of issues with that. So,
but that's because it's Max Tech. That's not because it's 115.
No,
yeah.
No, well, yeah.
I ran 115s and 124s and whatnot through my shadow. My shadow eats all of it.
Mm. My shadow usually eats all of it too, except for these ones. Anyways.
Well, that's because it's Max Tech. That's because that stuff's like garbage ammo.
Mm.
The Max Tech steel cased is not good ammo.
Well, I know that because I'm currently shooting it.
I probably gave you that warning when you bought it too.
Yeah, you did, but you know what?
It was
It's
cheap.
like it's cheap. Who cares, right?
Cheap. Yeah, who cares?
Just go to the range.
Your remedials will be fast and furious. You're like,
Fantastic.
Tap rack, go.
Yep, Kelly's actually super impressed too with my shooting this time as well. We're getting there together, so yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with not make changes, just
How is it failing? Is it like short stroking?
No, light primer strikes. So, and then ejection issues.
So light primer strikes, a lot of the time it's just not chambering them correctly.
Yeah.
Like they're not going all the way in.
So even with I was making sure that the mags were seated well and
No, what I'm saying is like the bullet's not going like the round's not going into the chamber properly and the slide's not fully forward.
Right.
Because if the slide's fully forward and you hit the hammer hits that pin, that thing's going off. You will strike it off. There's no way you're not going to rack it back and find like a round with like a deep primer hit on it that didn't go off.
No,
or I mean, you could, but you wouldn't say it's a light primer strike. So like light primer strike is usually it didn't fully go into battery because the Shadow has like a pretty tight chamber on it, and Max Tech is going to be up and down on the QC, and I bet some of those didn't chamber all the way.
Anyways, yeah. So spend a little bit extra. Don't get the match check. How's that?
I mean, for practice ammo, it's good.
Yeah.
Probably not for like you're probably gonna get like PTSD from like failures and like in a match, like any little thing, you're like and you're just doing remedials for like it's empty or you just forgot the safety's on and you're just like remedial, just throwing everything at it when it was like safety or something.
Maybe, yeah. No. Yeah, but so he's asking, which do you get? 147, 124, 115?
Depends on what he's shooting. If he's shooting IPSC, you need to make power factor. And 147s are easier to make power factor for. Definitely not 115s, because 150, like some of the 115s you won't make power factor with.
124, you're okay. It's kind of like a marriage between the two.
Yeah, and that is the standard weight for 9mm.
Yep.
But if you're cheap,
I used to shoot 124 all the time.
Yeah, you can get 115.
Okay, guess what? You're up.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, Spencer writes his stuff really well, so it's always easy to read.
He does. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I wrote to you, but I heard Trevor mention how much he loved lever guns. I'm going to say lever just to trigger him. With non-traditional stocks. So I figured I'd send him a picture of the ones I have. Maybe it'll motivate him to race toy cars better, the same way he motivates Kelly to shoot better skeets. I should have put a trigger warning before this email. The top one is an old JM stamped 336 that I used to use as a truck gun. I have a PC carbine in that role now. Oh, carbine instead of carbine. I'm going to trigger the Americans some more with this one. I'm doing it on purpose too.
Before you go further, are you able to actually show the listeners or show the viewers his picture?
Let me scroll a little bit more and then I'll show them. I'll pull up the letter at the same time. They can read with me.
Okay.
Where was I?
Carbine.
Yes, carbine. Turbine? That's what Texans call a turbine. Call it a turbine. Got to turn up the turbine. Since it shares mags with the Glock 17 in my get home bag, so it'll probably get sold off soon. I do have the wood stock for it, which is probably what it'll get sold with. That Ramline polymer stock in the picture is probably worth half what the gun is, since they've been out of production for years. The middle one is what I already told you guys about, a Marlin 1894 CST that I can shoot suppressed using 38 Special through my 9mm can. And I'll pop this up over here. It's a great little gun, and it shows how much Marlin has improved since the whole Remlin fiasco. I really hope they make it out of Remington's current problems intact after all the work they've done to fix that brand. At the bottom is my latest lever gun purchase, one of the Henry X model guns Adriel mentioned. I was looking for one in 44 Magnum, but when I did the research I found out that my 45 suppressor would probably have issues with most Magnum loads. Not only that, the 44 Magnum guns are literally impossible to find.
Mm.
In almost a month of checking Gunbroker, I found a grand total of one, and they wanted at least $500 over MSRP for it. And there's only a few companies that even are accepting customer orders, and Henry isn't one of them. Because of that, I ended up getting it in 45 Colt. That caliber not only suppresses very well in cowboy loads, but is one I already have plenty of, and one that's still available at normal prices. I've only gotten to the range with it once, but it shoots like you would expect a Henry to shoot. A smooth action and accurate. As a newer model, it's got both the side gate and the tube, and while it has the molded in sling swivels, they are really beefy. If Adro was thinking these were the flimsy kind used on some 22s I've seen, that's not the case. These would be really hard to break off. I don't intend to use a bipod with it, since prone isn't something lever guns do well, but it's nice to have the little bit of rail up front for one, even if I just put the cover on it. I have a decent sling and a set of Skinner peep sights that will go on it before its next range trip as well.
Nice.
By the way, I'm not surprised you had good luck teaching new shooters to use aperture sights compared to the post and notch kind. I've always found them to be the best iron sights of any kind of rifle, and I've never had any issues back in the day when I used to coach a kid's rifle team. Even a 10-year-old gets the idea of the front sight bead going in the middle of the ring, and that setup still works great even for me with my much older eyes. That's it for now. Hope you're all staying reasonably sane up there in America's hat. From Spencer. And I'm showing the picture of the 3 lever guns.
Yeah.
There, I'll say it properly once more. But the proper American one. I always get comments on my YouTube channel about people getting PO'd about my pronunciation being wrong. But it's like, no, that's Canadian pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Yep.
Yep.
Ethan's saying we should have Ian McCullum on again
I think
for
we should have
the
to.
KE15 that he's been developing. Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting one. The What Would Stoner Do build they've done is really interesting as well. Yeah, he's always up to some interesting stuff. Or we could have, yeah, Ian on. That'd be cool. Yeah.
You might come on again. Anyways. All right. So if you would like to send an email, send it to the show and send it to slamfireradio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to read it. And yeah. So anyways. Patreon supporters. We have no new Patreonies this week, but we wanted to say thank you to those of you who are currently supporting us on Patreon. If you'd like to do that, you can go to patreon.com, go to Slamfire Radio, and show us some love. Or you can also show us some love by going to our website and clicking on the Cabela's link there. If you're going to Cabela's anyways, you might as well actually support the show. So, and go and buy stuff, and they'll give us a few dollars from or cents. I don't know how much they send to us, but anyways, they'll show us some love. All right, shout outs. Adriel, what you got?
To the 3 Gun crew, all the guys who RO'd and volunteered and did all the hard work to make it possible. And then to the sponsors, like this year was hard for the start of the year was very hard for some of the gun manufacturers, and the whole year's been hard for Canadian gun manufacturers, but we still had lots of support for this event, and it was very much appreciated.
Awesome. I do have a couple of shout outs. The first one is to Tracy Wilson. Wanted to say happy birthday. Today is officially her birthday. So I wanted to say happy birthday to her. And I also wanted to say to all of the people who volunteered for the Integrity March, you guys did a really, really fantastic job. So I just have to let you know that. A couple of them are watching or listening tonight too. So I saw Terry Muxlow in there. But especially Kelly Kincaid, she did a fantastic job of being point person for this. Of course, Rod and Tracy did a fantastic job as well with their interviews and also being the spokespeople and also being the people that spearheaded this. So congratulations to them on a fantastic march. And I also wanted to say thank you to everybody who did actually come to the march, showed up. I know that it's been a particularly interesting time with COVID, and there was concerns and different things like that as well. But people actually put their money where their mouth is, and they came. And it was great to see, especially some of those people that I haven't been able to see for a little bit. or people that I've never met, but they came up and said hi, and just because they've listened to the show, or they know me through other means too. So just want to say thank you. All right. So anyways, yeah, let's get out of here. So check us out on Gunners of Canada. We have a thread over there. Give us a like on Facebook if you haven't already. We are at 2,707 as of today. Join the CCFR, because right now they're the ones that are making our voices heard. Obviously, Integrity March, hey. And you know what, we're going to see you next week. Maybe, I'm hoping
We will. It'll
I'll
be
be
a thing.
here.
Yeah.
Adriel will be here.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag reliable. I love you, Trevor. I love you, Dave. Anyways. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight.